FaZe Zero Season 4, Episode 25 starts right now. Welcome to the show. I'm Brandon Davis, joined today by Jenna Anderson.
Hey, everybody.
Jamie Jirac.
Good morning.
Aaron Perrine.
What's going on, everybody?
Not much. Just excited to be doing our Wednesday marvelous work thing that we do here, FaZe Zero. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for taking the road to Deadpool and Wolverine with us. We are 44 days away from the movie. Our road to Deadpool and Wolverine review marathon concluded with the New Mutants. All those reviews, I think they got better as they went too. We were kind of figuring it out. I think we found a good system for reviews that we're going to use for new movies too. I think it all kind of, it's all there. Go listen to them. We have scored every X-Men movie, every Deadpool movie. We actually have an image I want to pull up in a second. But now that we're 44 days out, how are we feeling, everybody? Has anybody's excitement level changed on Deadpool and Wolverine?
I'm about the same. Feeling good. Yeah, I kind of wish there were more movies to watch because 44 days is a ways away. I wouldn't be surprised if I looped back around and started watching the X-Men movies again before this, but that's just my way, you know?
Yeah, I will say doing the rewatch did help enrich my excitement for Deadpool and Wolverine, but it is relatively the same. Like, we'll talk about some of the specifics that have come out this week that might sway people's excitement one way or the other, but I'm just glad we committed to this rewatch and already have it done with this much to spare, and we're not like struggling to fit movies in right before San Diego Comic-Con or whatever. So
Yeah. Jamie, did you watch Legion?
The first season.
Oh, okay.
Many times, weirdly, but I never finished it. But I've kept watching that first season.
I was gonna say we didn't watch Legion. I've never watched Legion.
It's awesome. It is.
I've
so
seen the
good.
first episode.
It is so good. So if that's what you're getting at, I'm ready.
Well, I was gonna say we rewatched everything I could think of.
There's also The Gifted.
The Gifted.
But that's another TV show on top of that. So see, the fact that you don't even remember is kind of.
My girl, I think Amy Acker's in that.
What other and you know there might be some Fox movies. Daredevil. We do Daredevil already.
We did do Daredevil.
Aaron's like, no, stop it.
Charlie Ridgely is ready and willing. Adam will just come here holding a baby. Yeah. It'll be all right. Nicole's around.
I did pitch that once we get closer to Fantastic Four, maybe we revisit those movies, but that's a conversation for like a year from now.
Yeah, only if we also do the 90s one, though.
Yeah.
I think that's a requirement.
1000%. Yeah.
All right. Richard, I just finally dropped that image for you so we can pull it up. I didn't realize it didn't send. Who made the Blade movies? Was that Fox?
Yeah, I think so.
New Line.
Oh, New Line Cinema. Shout out.
It's New Line.
And then Ghost Rider.
Oh boy, I don't.
I'm totally blanking. I'm surprised Jamie doesn't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know. Right, Jamie.
I knew Blade. You know what I'm saying?
Like I guess I'm asking this because
Colombian Sony.
Okay.
Ghost Rider was Sony, so Ghost Rider was never eligible for our road to Deadpool and Wolverine.
No.
Daredevil, Elektra, we rewatched those a long time ago. Earlier this year, feels like a lifetime, but yeah. As soon as we get this image ready, I don't think it's in the back end yet, but I do want to pull up our review scores. I can start reading them because I have the image, so we'll get it on the screen in a moment. But all of our X-Men and Deadpool movies, those are the movies we did. Obviously, we didn't do Ghost Rider. We didn't do the Blade movies. We're not sure if those are going to be a factor. We're not sure if any of these movies or all of these movies are going to be a factor in Deadpool and Wolverine's multiverse storytelling. There it is. So here's the number score that FaZe Zero landed on for its official ranking. If you weren't listening to any of our review scores, the way these were found is we watched the movies. Everybody who was on the show that Monday reviewing it would rate it out of 10, a proper number score. And then we would average that number between the four of us and land on these. So Logan got a perfect 10. X-Men Days of Future Past, 9.5. X2, 9.4. X-Men from 2000, 9.3. X-Men First Class, 9.3. Deadpool, 8.1. That's your first big jump there. And then we have another jump to The Wolverine, 7.2. Deadpool 2, 6.9. The New Mutants, 6.5. X-Men The Last Stand, that's X3 there, right?
Yeah.
That is a 5.7. X-Men Apocalypse, 5.1. Wolverine Origins, X-Men Origins Wolverine 4.2, Dark Phoenix 3.6. So while that graphic is up there, we just ran through all of that. Any of these numbers standing out? Like these, we are guilty of all of these. Okay, we are responsible for these rankings. Now that they're in front of us and we can see these scores all compared with each other, is there anything standing out from these to any of you guys?
I do wish First Class was higher in the grand scheme of things.
I agree.
I think we crushed this. Like, it's not my personal ranking. Mine would look differently, but I think that this is really good. Like, the fact that X-Men and First Class are tied, yeah, like Jenna said, maybe, but like, I love that Dark Phoenix is the lowest. I think that the jumps make sense in quality. I honestly, I'm proud of us. I hope we're eventually going to do a personal ranking episode, but for right now, I'm just gonna pat us on the back as a nice team. I think we're a good team, you guys.
Yeah, what do you think of these?
I was midway through I started thinking, like, man, what is this going to look like when you put them all together? But actually, you know what? There's a couple things that some people might switch here and there, but this seems pretty online with a lot of the would-be discourse about these movies. So I was pleasantly surprised. I know some people are going to be upset about where the Deadpools are. I know some people are going to have for some reason, have opinions about that bottom. I don't know why we do this to ourselves, but a lot of it seems about right.
Yeah, for me, there are 3 movies that I have feelings about. Actually, I'm going to say 4. X-Men First Class, watching it for the first time, I got to say, loved it, 9.3. It might even be higher than that. Hard to say it's better than X2 or Days of Future Past, but I do think it's fantastic. Both Deadpool movies, I think we scored lower than they deserve. And I'm going to go bottom line it here. X-Men Dark Phoenix. I feel like it's better than Origins. Maybe kind of in line with Apocalypse, but it is pretty messy now that, like, after that conversation, it was hard to say nice things about that. So a 3.6 is harsh, but I do feel like it's somehow maybe not the worst of the bunch. But I don't want to be a Dark Phoenix defender, so I'm going to stop that right there. But yeah, so that's our I see Jamie's got thoughts. I saw the thoughts about to leave Jamie's mouth.
I was just gonna say, Wolverine Origins might be a worse movie, but X-Men Dark Phoenix evokes more hatred in my heart, so I think it should be last.
Yeah.
I just averaged all of these, by the way. Our average score for X-Men movies and Deadpool movies from our road to Deadpool Wolverine, 7.29, so 7.3 out of 10 for basically the franchise as a whole. That seems pretty fair because there's some bangers and there's some awful movies. So it's 7.3 seems to sum it up pretty well.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
And it's it's a franchise that started so hot and then just kind of went like that. And had a few. But yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's our Road to Deadpool and Wolverine review of our reviews. All right. You know what? I was awake last night when this was revealed. I just happened to not be on my phone, so I saw it late. Hot Toys revealed the new Wolverine figure that's coming from Deadpool and Wolverine. This thing is gorgeous, first of all, but also it's pretty revealing. Not only does it have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine wearing the mask, but it also has him wearing sleeves and shoulder pads and all this stuff. And I think this is a day one order from Hot Toys. If pre-orders open on Sideshow tomorrow, I'm in there. How are we feeling, Jamie? You're right there. Do you care? Do you feel like we just revealed something with this Wolverine figure?
No, it's nice.
Look at this thing.
He's slick. God. He looks good, but we're different because, like, you like real stuff and I like silly stuff.
I like Alex Ross and hyper realistic stuff, and
yeah.
As anybody, come on, and somebody's got to be excited with me. Somebody,
I do like the way they sculpted the hair. Like it looks even more angled than it does in any of the trailers. So I think that looks really good. Like if I had the shelf space and the money to justify buying this, I totally would, because I do think it looks really well made.
Oh, it's so cool! It's so cool. The little red X on the belt, that's interesting. I haven't picked that up from the trailers yet either. But the big takeaways here, the one thing that's got everybody talking about is that he might be sleeveless with the shoulder pads. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think this is probably like $300. I don't think this Hot Toys figure indicates that Hugh Jackman will be sleeveless with shoulder pads. I think that the figure itself, with my knowledge of Hot Toys, is probably built with those shoulder pads attached to the suit, but then the arms can interchange and you can put different arms on, but you can't take the shoulder pads off just because of the way the figure is made. But then again, look at this. I mean, there it is with no shoulder pads. Maybe the shoulder pads are removable. I don't know. The only thing this really tells me is that we got a cool look at the mask for sure, and that's what it's going to look like in the movie. So
I would like to ask, man, the mask thing has been so funny to me. Why does everybody think he's just not gonna like? I'm like, you've seen movie theater cups, you see this gorgeous figure, you see posters.
Yeah.
There's no way they were gonna not have him in the mask. So like every time something gets posted, everybody be like, "Yay, he's actually gonna wear the mask." I'm like, but we knew, like, huh? It's hard for me to process these things sometimes. It looks great. I'm more concerned with, he's got 3 bullet wounds in his chest. What happened to my boy? What the heck's gonna happen to my boy? I know it's probably not gonna hurt him that badly, but he's gonna take some slugs to the chest. This is interesting in that regard. And also, Brendan, how much is this thing? How much is it?
no price yet, but if I were guessing, it's probably going to be like.
Let's play Price is Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I would probably say about $320.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, Iron Man figures are usually the most expensive. They're about $425 because they have a bunch of lights in them. But this one has a good amount of accessories. You got the claws, you got the alternate arms, you got the alternate head. That kind of adds up with these things. Without all that, I would say this is like a $260 figure. But with all that, I think this is like $320, $330. You know, this is not going to be a cheap one. Yeah.
It's like half a MODOK. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yo. They still haven't released that MODOK figure. I think that was just for display.
Okay.
Oh, man. Also, one thing I want to say just about Deadpool and Wolverine with this, while on the topic, rewatching the trailer 100 times as a normal person does, I caught that it sounds like Deadpool says Deadpool and a Wolverine, not Deadpool and Wolverine. Like he's acknowledging it's alternate Wolverine right there in front of our ears. I think maybe that's what I heard. But yeah, this definitely seems to be a different universe's Wolverine than what we're getting, than what we've got in all the movies we just reviewed on the show. So I don't know if anybody's thoughts on that, but I just want to say I caught that.
I think it's a good theory. Yeah.
Yeah. But while our Wolverine that we saw in previous movies may not be making an appearance, there's another person who also seemingly
reportedly. So this is my opportunity to yap. So Entertainment Weekly has exclusively learned that Taylor Swift is reportedly not appearing in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm taking them at their word for it, because also we have no idea if this was Taylor's team exclusively confirming that to them, if it was Ryan Reynolds' team, or if it's just like sources through the grapevine. Like we have no way of knowing at this point. I will take them at their word for it, in part because I am so sick of the discourse of people speculating of whether or not she's in this movie. We'll talk about the Lady Deadpool of it all, but I feel like I only saw Marvel Dude Bros analyzing photos of Taylor Swift's legs on Saturday. Swifties were not doing that. It was all Marvel fans doing that. I was like, okay, y'all have fun spending your weekend like that. But yeah, so now for the time being, they're saying that she's not in it. Maybe that is to keep the surprise and she's eventually in it anyway. But for now, that's what we're going with. What do you guys think?
I believe my reasonable self believes this, but you know, my tinfoil FaZe Zero host hat wearing theorist wants to say, well, it's just, you know, it's a mislead. But I think that this was an expectations manager from somebody. It could have been Marvel Studios. It could have been Ryan Reynolds. It could have been Taylor Swift's team, because EW just kind of, it's not like EW just did a cover story with Taylor Swift where they got this information from her. This is a couple days after Lady Deadpool's legs went viral, like Jenna just said, the whole world was analyzing them. And then this comes out. So somebody was like, we need to set this straight and not sell tickets and falsely advertise Taylor Swift being in the movie, because I do think there has been enough Taylor Swift is going to be in this movie going around that Swifties will buy tickets on the chance of opening day and then leave and be like, what the hell, and badmouth the movie as a result. And I want to clarify, I'm not badmouthing Swifties for saying they'll badmouth the movie. I'm just saying, if you were sold that she might be in the film and you left and she wasn't, you might be like, what the hell did I just watch? And then it goes back to what Deadpool says in the beginning, or Deadpool 2, he's like, my boyfriend told me this was a Valentine's Day movie or something. It's like, no, this is not the movie you thought it was, and now you're not happy with it, so you express that.
It would be history repeating itself, because the same thing happened with Argyle. Of they Swiftie baited a lot in the promotional team of that movie, to the point where people thought that she literally wrote the book and wrote the movie, and then that ultimately was not true at all. The friendship bracelets have really been the thing that like Swifties have personally latched onto, but it's like I get that they're just using that as an easy piece of thing that they can put in the marketing. So again, I'm not fully believing Entertainment Weekly, but for the time being I am, and we will just see. If it is a surprise, then it's a surprise when we go see the movie in 40-something days. So
I feel like I need to defer to Jenna on this. She would know.
I'll just say, I'll jump in and say, at first I was like, they're all liars. We've all been lied to, right? Like Harrison Ford, I feel like lied to my face, and like we've all been lied to. But this wasn't a quote, right? Like, there were no quotes in this article, and so that's what makes me think it might be true. And to your point of the friendship bracelets, Disney's been leaning into that. When we got Loki press boxes, I have a bracelet that says Loki, and like that obviously has nothing to do with anything. So I do agree. I think it's smart to just, if she's not in it, just tell people, and then if she does pop in, great. People are surprised. So I think it's funny that's become a meme. Everyone's like, Snuffleupagus isn't in
Lydia Tarr.
But it's also like, I think it's a dumb meme because this was a very highly speculated thing. Like it wasn't that random. We've been talking about it for like 2 years.
Well,
I blame Andrew Garfield. I blame the internet darling Andrew Garfield, because once he broke, like the fourth wall on this whole thing. Now, even if you say no, it could possibly not be true. Also, as well, if you really were going to be proactive about shutting down this rumor, you would not let it run rampant for almost a year before we're a month out from the movie and then say whatever. I don't know. I just know that there's no putting Pandora back in the box, and people going in there thinking she's in it, whether you tell them that she's not in it or not. And they're going to be either mad that she's not in the movie after you told them she's not in the movie, or they're going to be mad because y'all lied to them. Or everybody be overjoyed, but there will be some people be like, this is so dumb. I can see some of that stuff happening. So I'm rooting for chaos.
Here's why I think it has to be true, that she's not in the movie. Because if EW got played like that, that's crazy. Somebody close enough to this movie who is a big enough source convinced EW to run that article that she's not in the movie. If I'm EW and I got played like that, and that's a shot at EW's credibility, right? If that ends up not being true.
Yeah.
So I think Entertainment Weekly certainly believes it to be true, and somebody close enough to the movie convinced them to run that story for whatever reason. So that's why I'm like, man, that's a big one to run on maybe it's not true. So that makes me think, it's got to be true.
Jenna, what's the name of old girl, the publicist? What's her name?
Tree Payne.
Tree, yeah, I was about to say Tree. She worked. The devil worked hard. She worked harder.
That's why I said it very well could have come directly from her. Like there is nothing out of the realm of possibility at this point. I do get why the rumor has been able to percolate for as long as it did, because also with like the strikes and the filming schedule, and like there were reports they were still doing reshoots relatively recently. Like they weren't going to shut down the possibility that she maybe would have been in it if like she was able to film something. But like Beatty said, I'm going to just take them at their word for it, and if we're wrong, then we'll deal with it then.
Yeah.
So. Well, I guess we'll just speculate, and since the speculation train runs unabated as we go towards Deadpool Wolverine, the new trailer seemingly gave you your first look at Lady Deadpool. As Jenna said, there's been a lot of forensic, almost NBA Twitter level forensic analysis of these two feminine-looking legs. What if it's just Ryan Reynolds? It would be amazing. It's the funniest
That's
outcome.
what I was thinking.
The funniest outcome. But they like that seems to be Lady Deadpool. The Uzis match up with one of the previous spots, which is funny because I'm like, man, oh man, we got CSI. We could solve so many problems if we just harness the nerds towards other things. internet seems split on whether it's Blake Lively or Taylor Swift or what are we doing here. Anybody got any thoughts on Lady Deadpool?
I think it's Blake because I can so clearly hear the jokes of Wade being like, "Is it weird that I'm attracted to you?" Like, I
Oh,
can so
boy.
clearly hear
Yeah.
that being the rapport that the two of them have. And I think having it be Blake would really lean into that in a way that would make sense. So that's my theory.
Blake would be
Oh,
fun.
be-
I feel like it could just be Vanessa. Like in a
Oh.
way
That'd
that,
be
like,
dope.
if we're talking about alternate universes, how many times is it just like now the girlfriend is the thing? So like I feel like it could just be like, oh, it's just been Vanessa the whole time. That's my theory.
I like that.
I just think the line of dialogue writes itself. This is such a lively universe.
God.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hate this movie.
I'm gonna love it.
Ooh, why?
No, I
Critical
really
reviews, I can't wait.
no, I want to love this movie. I'm excited about this movie, but sometimes things are said and I'm like, oh.
Also, I would say the most interesting thing of it is not the legs. It's that obviously there is portal sparks
Mm.
falling as she's walking towards you, Rihanna umbrella style. So obviously, there's a couple sling rings in this thing, or
I'm not even
Wong?
buying that. I think the Doctor Strange portals are a load of shit. I don't know if I believe that they're even really there. Like, I don't think they're really jumping into one at the end of that Cassandra Nova scene in the trailer. And if they are, great, I'm wrong. But I think that we could be being very misled just for the sake of MCU connections, because I don't think the majority of this movie is going to be set in the MCU anyway.
Brandon's tinfoil hat is tight.
Yeah.
This movie is not
It's
taking
tight.
place. The majority of this movie is not taking place in the sacred timeline.
Yeah.
Bet on it.
Okay, all right. We'll see.
And it's sorry, go ahead.
No, I was like,
Oh.
we'll see. That's it.
We got the rating. It's officially rated R. No one's surprised. Rated R for strong, bloody violence and language throughout, gore and sexual references. So yeah, that's not par for the course, right?
Is
Well.
anyone surprised?
Yeah, no. No. Well, there it is. All right, that's our first phase of Phase Zero today. When we come back, we're going to talk about Captain America 4, Wonder Man, a Loki producer leaving Marvel, and it's Morbin time, baby. Tune in to see what that means. And at the end of the show, also, we're going to just talk about some other stuff, because this is one of those weeks where there's not a ton of Marvel news, but there's a lot of other stuff we here on Phase Zero are looking forward to, and we rarely get a chance to talk about that. So we'll share some of our thoughts on what we've been doing at work and some of the things we're looking forward to watching, and maybe the comment section can hang out and talk about what they're looking forward to outside of the Marvel world, because believe it or not, we watch other stuff too. All right, we'll see you in just a moment. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Welcome back to Phase Zero. This next story, this is about Captain America 4. It's about a character showing up in Captain America 4. It's a rumor for now. It's not coming from the trades, the even us, things like it's not coming from that. It's coming from the sources. And I put a poll out on Twitter about this. I feel like this is one of those things. It's big enough. It's on our site. We're not the source of it, but it's big enough that it got everywhere. Everybody talked about it. All the major digital media spaces covered this story for the most part from what I saw. The rumor is that, and listen, if you don't want a spoiler, potential spoiler, you want to know nothing that Marvel Studios hasn't directly said, go ahead and mute for the next 120 seconds, maybe 600 seconds. or skip ahead. But this, I don't know. We'll see where this lands. The rumor here is that Wong is appearing in Captain America: Brave New World. He's been in everything basically, so not a huge surprise. But the rumor here is that Wong will be there. I believe he's going to be assembling a team of Avengers, starting, with Cap. Obviously, you need Captain America on your team. First of all, before we debate is this a spoiler? Is it casting news? How do we feel about this if it turns out to be true?
This whole thing's been so interesting because I've even seen like a second wave of discourse of like, is he even in this movie or is he just in Atlanta filming another movie and happen to be like on the next soundstage over or whatever? But all of my thoughts concern the is this a spoiler or not? So I will reserve those for that part of the conversation.
I mean, love to see Wong anywhere. Happy to do it. I'm curious if this is true. Is it part of the reshoots or was he always in this movie? That's what I'm really interested to know. But if my boy Wong is there, how could I possibly complain? That's all I'll say about that.
I would assume it's part of the reshoots, personally. Aaron, what you feeling about this?
More connective tissue is usually good. Always good to see Wong pop up and everything. It feels like an eternity because he hasn't been in every single project for the last 3 projects, and I'm like, yeah, we get back to the Wong cinematic universe. So that's stronger. And for people who want to see the Avengers unite, I mean, he's the only one who's talked to everybody. He's the one friend holding the group chat together, so it's nice to see him.
Here's the only reason I would be pissed off about this coming out or consider it a spoiler is if it's like the end scene, if it's a tag scene.
Ooh, yeah.
And he's with a bunch of Avengers and he's going up to Cap saying like, hey man, we got to go on a mission or something. That would have been clearly a surprise. If he shows up in the movie for a couple scenes, if he's been on set for a while, I think that it's just not a big surprise. This is not Nick Fury's first appearance, so it's not that big, but it's still like if this was a credit scene or something and we just found out about it, huge bummer. But otherwise, it's like I'm trying to figure out how do we navigate talking about this on FaZe Zero and on Comic Book and on Twitter and all that stuff, because this is what we have to do. This is a big enough rumor. It's out there. It's not like here is the story of Captain America 4, like Sam Wilson will kill this person at this part or fight this person for this reason. It's just like, okay, here's a Marvel character you've already met who is expected to show up now. So that for that reason, I feel like we have to talk about this kind of stuff. On Twitter, most people said I consider this a spoiler. So I'm like, okay, I don't really know how else to kind of do our job. So I'm just trying to figure that out. What do you guys think?
I think you're right. 100%. If it is the end tag, then that does suck. But the thing is, this movie's still close to a year away. And it's not like when they said Valkyrie was going to be in the Marvels 2 days before the movie came out. Like that ticks me off. That makes me mad. We are so far out from this movie that I don't think that's considered a spoiler. Again, unless it does turn out to be like the tag, because that would be really lame. But otherwise, I think we're okay because the movie is not coming out in 2 days, Marvel.
I do agree with BD. I think it fully depends on like whether or not this is the end of the movie, the post-credit scene, whatever. Like if we had known with Shang-Chi that like Carol and Bruce were going to show up in the post-credit scene, like I would have personally hated that. I loved getting to be surprised by that. I also think it's reflective of like the larger spoiler culture of like so much stuff is already spoiled before we even remotely get to see these movies that you kind of become like a junkie looking for a high. And so I think like part of the reason why people are like, oh, this, I wish I didn't know this ahead of time is because there's so few things that are legitimately surprising in a lot of these movies. And so if we completely didn't know that Wong was in this movie and suddenly he is, that would be a very visceral sort of reaction. But it's also like not all of these things ultimately end up happening. I know there were rumors that like Quantumania was going to open with like a huge scene of all of the Avengers like fighting together, kind of like the opening of Age of Ultron. That obviously didn't happen. So if it ends up being true, great. If not, then I don't know.
I mean, it's a curse if you do, curse if you don't thing, because like obviously you want to be excited and this stuff sort of drives excitement, but like Brandon and you said, if that was the tag, woo, salty, the worst. In fact, it's like, Bob, go give them some more money so they can reshoot something else so we don't get spoiled and just have it be on the end of the Marvels like the Marvels. But you know, it doesn't completely ruin anything. I don't think we learned anything about like the real like plot of the movie from that. So that's fine. But yeah, it's like a fine line. And Jenna's right. The omnipresence of scooping culture is what's effing up people's expectations for these movies. And that's where a lot of your spoilers come from.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to the first episode of FaZe Zero where I intentionally waited for that episode to reveal that Charlie Cox filmed for Spider-Man No Way Home. People were mad at me for two reasons. One, they thought I was lying. Two, they said it was a spoiler. And I get that's a little bit different because that was like a big return. I still believe that would have come out anyway, whether I said it there or not, and it was going to be unavoidable. But yeah, I since then I really don't break casting news or anything. But this is a situation where, like, if we hear a Marvel actor who you've already seen is in a movie, like them being in the movie, we kind of have to talk about it. It's yeah. I feel like from going forward, that's kind of just maybe, I don't know. I kind of just want to establish that's just what we're going to be doing. And nobody was like mad at us for reporting this or anything. So of all the things they do get mad at, this wasn't really one of them. But yeah, so hopefully this isn't some kind of thing that would have been a special moment or a big surprise or, something like that. But it seems if this rumor turns out to be true, Wong, Cap 4. But we can move on.
Oh, a little Wonder Man news over at Deadline. The show is going to be 10 episodes. Cool. Great. That would be the longest. Isn't WandaVision 9? So that would be the longest at 10. Great. More opportunity for a little certain romance to bloom in those 10 episodes. That's all I'll say about that.
Didn't this start as a special presentation?
No, it was Marvel Spotlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad this is 10 episodes. I'm glad the show is still happening because I know like the updates have been very, very few and far between. It feels like Marvel itself has like barely confirmed that the show even exists, but at least like, because this was in Yaya getting cast in another project. They like mentioned this, I guess, in the bottom of that. So it's like, I'm glad at least, yeah, I'm glad that like at least the trades are making us sure that like this show still exists.
Yeah. Part of me is like, if it's 10 episodes, they're going to be short, quick episodes if they have knocked out 10 episodes of Wonder Man and we haven't heard a damn thing about them.
Yeah.
But who knows? I was going to say earlier when we were talking about scoop culture and stuff, Star Wars does a really good job of keeping secrets. They do a really good job of staying buttoned up with casting and surprises and spoilers and stuff. So none of us expected Luke Skywalker to show up in, what was that? Was that Boba Fett or Mandalorian? Or both?
Mandalorian. Or yeah.
And both times we were surprised. Yeah. So I just feel like Marvel has a harder time doing that. But yeah. Anyway, 10 episodes, 10 very secretive. I don't even know the status of Wonder Man episode production right now, but cool, 10 episodes.
As long as these episode counts keep getting longer, great. Maybe we'll end up back in 2011. We'll all be 60 years old and it'll be 25 to 30 episode seasons like TV's supposed to be again. Yeah, I don't know. On our side, sadly, Loki, producer and VP of production at Marvel Studios, is Kevin Wright, correct, Brandon, who you've talked to before, is leaving to pursue independent producing. He's very conciliatory to Marvel and to everything. He started as like a production assistant on, I want to say, is it Doctor Strange? Like, he had been there a long time, but yeah, he wanted to go do some original things. And this guy had a major hand in making Loki like what it was. He helped helm like the actual pitch, like the 30-page script pitch for it and stuff. So it's not like, oh my god, everything's Guy's fault. But it's like, oh man, a guy who was really integral to a thing that a lot of the fans really liked is stepping away.
That's a bummer. I think it's a loss for Marvel. And, it's not going to shatter Marvel by any means. But I like Kevin Wright. I think he's responsible for my favorite Disney Plus show. And he's a great interview, really nice guy. And he worked his butt off to make Loki good. And worked closely with Aaron and Justin, the directors, and a lot of respect for him, and he's going to go do independent producing. Cool. I look forward to seeing what he produces. I think it's probably going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jenna.
No, I was going to say, like, I'm glad we at least got Loki, and I'm, like, very curious now, just given the work that he did on Loki, like, what projects he's going to produce from here. So,
yeah.
I always respect when a creative decides to move on to something else. It's the same thing with like Kate Herron. She crushed directing the first season, but then she decided to do something else. And some people like make it their whole life, their whole career, and that's cool too. But I think that some creatives want to explore different spaces, and loss for Marvel, but probably a gain for the rest of the world.
It seems like written textbook Apple TV 10 episode sci-fi thing that he gets complete utter control of because they have infinite money. That seems like a lock. And has some guy that you remember from movies 10 years ago as the main male lead, and a lady who was in big giant movies 20 years ago as the female lead. That seems like where we're headed with him. God bless. Cannot wait for Severance, but they're all janitors. It's gonna be great. I don't have anything else, BD. I don't know.
You came from the future. You came from the future to tell us that, by the way.
Oh.
The lore that we dropped on Monday's episode.
Brandon was not here for that.
No, I know. We established that Aaron is a time traveler. So
I believe it. I've seen enough to believe it.
So for our last story for today, completely shifting gears outside of the MCU, outside of television. So this is a panel. I'm about to show it on the screen here from Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt #2. So It's Morbin Time is now Marvel Comics canon. There are kind of two vampires, and one of them says, yes, it's Morbin time. And then Morbius says, I have no idea what that is, but if you ever utter that phrase again, I will dismember you. So it finally happened. The phrase is canon. I just had to throw this in because Marvel Twitter is like up in flames over the fact that this is canon, in part because it's like a year and a half too late. But yeah, it's a thing.
Comics just have fun, man. It's okay to have fun, right?
Yeah.
Can we still have fun? It's funny. I don't have the reaction that seemingly some people on Twitter have, which is in line with what Morbius did. But it's Morbin time, baby. Re-release this comic in 3 months.
It's like, who cares? It's a joke. I mean, really, it's a joke.
Yeah, it's fun. Good catch, though. Good catch on finding that.
The tweet belongs in the Smithsonian.
It does.
It really does. I'm not even being funny. I'm like, yeah, like put the tweet in the little box with the bird still there to make sure you realize when it's from, and then and have a little.
That original poster is just the Oppenheimer meme at this point. Like they just are aware of like what they wrought by tweeting that by accident.
That and the Can't You Win a Time War tweet author are like sadly like a forced dyad of like, wow, you guys really changed stuff. Why'd you use it on this?
The fact that it got the movie re-released will always be one of the funniest things that has ever happened.
I love it so much.
Some social media manager over there just changed the whole world. We're still talking about it. Changed their impact. Wow. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We come back. We're gonna just talk about some other stuff. What are you guys excited for? What have we been working on at Comic Book outside of FaZe Zero? There's a lot. It's been a busy few weeks. We got a busy couple weeks coming up, and Comic-Con is not that far away. So plenty to say there. So subscribe to our show on the FaZe Zero YouTube channel during the break, and we'll see you in just a moment. Welcome back to FaZe Zero. Wait, is the music still playing? What? I'm gonna wait for the music to. There we go. All right, we'll just go ahead and cut that audio for podcast form. That's all right. Welcome back to FaZe Zero, everybody. We are talking about just other stuff now because we just talked about a bunch of Marvel stuff. That's what we do. But right now we have some extra time, and I thought it'd be fun to just catch up and see what everybody's doing. Jamie, you just did Bike Riders and Watchers and all that. Are those movies even out yet?
Yeah, The Watchers is out. Bike Riders is not out yet, but those interviews are all up on the site. Watch me talk to Tom Hardy and Austin Butler and Norman Reedus and Jodie Comer and Jeff Nichols. Those are happening over there.
Wait, what were the standout? What was the best moments? Come on.
Oh, well, for me personally, it was when this actually is not in the interview, but when Austin Butler looked at my John Travolta tattoo and was like, is that John Travolta? Because some people think it's Elvis. So the fact that Elvis knew it was John Travolta made me really happy. The interview with Tom Hardy is a bit messy because there was a lot of delay because it wasn't in person. But it was fun. He told me that some of his tattoos now have belonged to his characters. Like he pointed to one and was like, this is Eddie Brock's tattoo now. And I thought that was pretty neat. Norman Reedus is cool. Like I just want to hang out with Norman Reedus. You know, he's pretty neat. And I loved the movie. I love Jeff Nichols. He's I think he's such a great director. He's never made a movie I didn't like. So one other quick thing that I thought was really funny was that Michael Shannon is in all of his movies. Like nobody utilizes Michael Shannon better than Jeff Nichols. But Michael Shannon's like a part of the motorcycle club, but you never see him riding a motorcycle. And I asked Jeff Nichols about that. And he was like, Michael Shannon can not even lean on a motorcycle, let alone drive a motorcycle. Like, he doesn't even have a license. So I thought that was really funny because I love Michael Shannon.
So Bike Riders, go watch Watchers. Was that good?
I think that it's a good feature directorial debut for Shauna Shyamalan. She has a great eye. I think she has a really great future. I think the story is a bit sloppy. It has like two endings. It gets a bit end, but I do think it's a promising start for her as a director, and I love Dakota Fanning, so she's great.
All right. Jenna, what you been up to?
Professionally?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to talk about.
I know.
What do you want to talk about?
Something else.
I know. Really, the only interview I've done lately is, again, this isn't even running on the site for a couple weeks, but I talked to Kristen Ritter for Orphan Black Echoes, which is the sequel series to Orphan Black. That comes out on June 23rd. It was a delightful interview. It wasn't over video. It was just over text, but it was a lot of fun. I did ask a Jessica Jones question, but more directly tied to the show. But yeah, so I'm super excited for the show. I can't talk about the specifics of it yet, even though I have seen it, but just go watch it when it comes out in a couple weeks.
Just via text with Kristen Ritter. No big deal. No big deal. That's okay. Small flags. Aaron, what you got going on?
Let's see. So yesterday was Inside Out 2, and that's great.
That movie's so good.
Emotional gut punch city, except for if you're Jamie. Go talk to Jamie on the side if you guys want to know more.
Hey, did Jamie hate Inside Out 2? Confirmed?
No, she did not hate it. No.
You hated Inside Out 2? You heard it here first?
No. I am not the
Just
biggest
kidding.
Inside Out fan in general. I think if you love Inside Out, you will love Inside Out 2. My thing is it's stressful. It's a good movie that stressed me out. I just wanted it to end because I was so stressed out. That's just my personal problem. But it was a very well-made movie. I did have some laughs. I'm not a hater. I just didn't come out of it crying like some people did. I was
some people did. A hockey puck tried to accost Jamie before we had the podcast, and that's really what's going on here, guys. So that was good. Wild Robot with Lupita and Pedro is a delightful anime movie. I cannot wait to see more of that. It's really, really moving. Like there's like a really sort of like, I don't know, Caldecott core visual style for like a children's picture book that's really kind of soothing and like gorgeous on its own. So that was cool. And I'm trying to think if we did anything. Oh, and Netflix animation stuff. That was wild. Ultraman comes out in like 2 days. Can't wait to see more of Ultraman. There's all this anime stuff they have. There's like supposed to be like a Stranger Things animated series. There's supposed to be a Ghostbusters animated series. I'm like, what is going on over here? It's all the stuff over in Family and Kids. And Zack Snyder just getting to do Norse mythology and animation and no no chains on him for ratings, and I'm like, him and Deb, they just do what they want, which is great. I'm like, oh, sounds good.
Say what you will about Zach and his movies, but being able to just live life and make movies with your wife, like that's come on, that's pretty good setup right there. That's pretty good setup. I'm still riding high on how good Bad Boys Ride or Die was, and the fact that it made so much money, overperformed at the box office. Will Smith is back, baby. I'm a big Will Smith fan, and I thought that movie was fantastic. Inside Out 2 also very good. I saw Despicable Me 4 as well, and I think I could say I liked it. I said it, so no, I liked the movie. It's not my favorite movie ever for sure, but I enjoyed it. I'll share more details. I don't know. Whenever I'm more confident, I'm allowed to talk about it. Interviewed Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, and Steve Carell all at once, which was awesome, but also it was 4 minutes long, and they're quick and funny and witty, and I was like, damn, bro, I am not funny enough to even be seated with you three. So that was I walked out of there like, damn, I honestly felt like I should have let Chris Killian do that interview. Like I should have called him up, said, hey, you want to take this New York trip? Because he's a stand-up comic, and I think he would have. It was, I don't know, it's one of those where I was like, man, they were so funny, and I'm not. But yeah, so all those are coming to comic book. My next, I think, like interview thing that I can think of is A Quiet Place.
Nice.
I don't really know. So that'll be fun. But also stuff we're not working on. I'm hyped for House of the Dragon and The Boys. I mean, I like in terms of like doing interviews for it. I'm not doing any interviews or anything for the House of the Dragon and The Boys. I am psyched for those, and I'm sad to see The Boys end in season 5.
I just started The Boys. I'm 6 episodes in.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet?
No, it's good. It's not my favorite. It's not. It's I'm okay. I love House of the Dragon. I'm excited for House of the Dragon. I'm gonna keep watching The Boys. I'm like, it's got some fun stuff in there. But I'm trying.
So good. I love The Boys. Wait, Aaron, Jenna, do y'all watch The Boys?
Oh, I don't.
I've seen clips of it. I've read the comic. I just like the show does not seem like my speed. I'm so sorry. I keep trying to get into it and don't succeed. So
FaZe Zero, 3 out of 4 people hate The Boys confirmed.
I'm trying. I just watched 3 episodes yesterday. I'm trying.
Jamie's
that
like,
show released
both sides.
That show released pre-Panoramic. That show released.
But there was so
season
much
1 was
TV.
so long ago. It's shot in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
But there was so much TV before the pandemic. Like there was so much going on. If you didn't like immediately join the journey, it then became harder to catch up on it. So
Oh,
I would like to shout out
what?
something. I would like to shout out something in this moment.
What do we got?
The Acolyte.
Thank you.
I'm obsessed with it, and not just because my friend is in it, but my friend is in it. I'm the original member of the Yord Horde. Sorry, internet. No one was a Charlie Burnett fan before I was a Charlie Burnett fan, because I was a Charlie Burnett fan when I was 14 years old. And but even if my friend wasn't in it, it's so good, and I'm loving it. And I did interview costume designer Jennifer Bryan, and I have more stuff coming to the site about that. So keep an eye out, because I love it. That's that.
I was just waiting. I could tell Jamie was waiting, chomping at the bit to bring up Acolyte. I love the show as well, and I have to shout out Doctor Who. The current season is utterly delightful and is like knocking my socks off every week. So that has been a consistent delight every single week.
I like Acolyte, not as much as you guys do, but I do like it. I do also want to shout out that when I interviewed Charlie Yord, I sat down and I said, I know your friend Jamie, and he said, what? I said, yeah, Jamie Drack. We host a podcast together. He goes, I love Jamie. Oh my God, like Jamie's like the best. Like, I mean, literally like friends since we were like infants. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So honestly, I think that might be obviously that wasn't published in the interview because it was like before I did the whole like, hey, here's my first question. But it was, I don't know if I actually should go look at the footage they sent, the raw unedited stuff before we published it and see if that's there. Because Charlie was very excited to hear that I'm friends with Jamie. It was cool.
That's so sweet. Boy.
Yeah. Anything else you guys are looking forward to?
Oh, I like the Acolyte quite a bit, and I bounce off of Game of Thrones and I bounce off of The Boys. But tomorrow is a absolute holiday in the house because season 3, part 2 of Bridgerton comes out.
There you go.
Holy crap! I cannot wait. I cannot believe they split it into 2. It was me and the hens just packing at the poor Netflix social media person, being like, "How dare you? How dare you are the person that puts up the episodes? Why is it split into two?" Cannot wait. Cannot wait. It's gonna be so good.
I haven't watched Bridgerton. I also haven't watched The Bear, which the comment section keeps bringing up. I need to watch. I started it. I liked it. I never got past like 3 episodes. I'm just bad at watching TV, to be honest with you. So I need to watch that too. But yeah.
Well, it's not new. I have been rewatching Twin Peaks. I got my Twin Peaks sweater
yeah.
on. And let me tell you, I know it's an older show, but if you've never watched Twin Peaks, it's one of the greatest things that's ever existed in the whole universe. So get your eyes on that one. Paramount Plus, the big eye in the sky.
The 20-year anniversary of Oceanic Flight 815 crashing on an island is only 3 months away.
How?
And I really, right?
God, I'm old.
Right?
That makes me feel so old. I remember watching that the day it aired, and that makes me feel old.
September 22nd, 2024. It'll be 20 years since that plane fell out of the sky. And I'm really, really thinking about trying to get like a Lost rewatch podcast going. I know our buddy Cam Hayward is down. It's just a question of like Jamie, you host a podcast outside of this one. You know how much goes into putting these damn things together.
It's especially like an episode to episode like that when you're covering an episode. But also if we're talking Lost, I'm in, baby, because you know I love Lost too.
It's the best. It's the absolute best. But God, that's like if you do one episode a week, that's more than 2 years of talking about Lost every week. So that's a big commitment. We'll see. 20 years though, that's crazy.
When you started that whole tangent before you got to podcast, I thought you were going to say you were going to like charter a plane to like celebrate the 20th anniversary. I was like, oh boy, this is a really eccentric way to celebrate.
FaZe Zero goes to Hawaii. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm just doing LAX to Sydney and back and forth as many times as I can on that day, which would only be like 1.25. But hoping maybe I'll land on that island and just find myself and realize all the things they realized on that show. But yeah, so clearly some good TV coming up, a lot of movies coming up soon, a lot of good coverage of all this stuff on and coming to comic book. So yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to switch the subject a little bit. Okay, wait, let's go around real quick. Let's end it with this. Your 3 favorite movies of the year so far. Just what they don't have to be the best. Which ones have you liked the most? And if you guys want a second to think about it, I've already thought about this, so I'm happy to go first. But if not, okay, I'll go first. My number 1 is Bad Boys Ride or Die. That is my favorite movie of the year. It is the most fun I've had in a theater this year. It's not up for debate in terms of fun, but my number 2, very close in terms of favorite, because I think it is one of the most astonishing cinematic achievements I've ever seen, is Dune Part 2. And then my number 3 is Inside Out 2. Rivaled closely by honorable mention Abigail, which surprised me. And there's a movie actually I saw that I can't say that I've seen. It is not very close to release, but I've seen the whole movie. I do think it's going to be that number 3. I just can't say what it is yet. It was fantastic. And I have thought about it a lot. It's not a movie Aaron's going to like, I'll say that. but I'm surprised I liked it too, because it's not the type of movie I usually am like. It's not a day one I need to see this, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, but I can't say what it was. So I'm just teasing everybody with that. But those are my 3 so far, my 3 favorites of the year, as far as my memory will go anyway. Dune 2, Bad Boys 4, and Inside Out 2, but not in that order.
I'm ready because I got my letterbox. I rank every movie I watch for the first time. And I will say my number 1 movie of 2024 so far is 14 on my list of I've watched way better movies than movies that came out this year. But if we're just talking this year, number 1 for me is Love Lives Bleeding. Number 2 for me is Challengers. And number 3 is Civil War. But again, those are like Civil War. We're now down to 23 on my year list, but those are the top 3 of 2024 for me right now.
I gotta say, Challengers is up there in very close to my top 3 too. And if I were to wake up on the different side of the bed, that's one that could knock Inside Out 2 out of that running. Maybe it's recency bias that just got Inside Out 2 in there for me. Challengers is great. Civil War I didn't have as much love for as you did, but Love Lies Bleeding I haven't watched yet. Jen, what about you? What are your 3?
Can I just say I was so proud of myself. I logged my like 100th new movie of the year. Jamie's at 300 already. Like tweeted that like a day or two later, and I was like, all right, this is
Not
fair.
new movies though. I'm at 300
okay.
movies. I think I've watched 160 movies for the first time, but I've watched 300 total because I'm a rewatcher. I like to rewatch.
Yes.
Wow.
I would say my favorite specifically that were released this year, Dune 2 is number 1 with a bullet. Like that really, really blew me away. I need to see Furiosa a second time, but there was so much of it that I thoroughly enjoyed that I think it's somewhere at some point in my top 3. And really the third one just kind of depends on the day. Like I really loved Monkey Man. I thought that was outstanding. Even Hitman was really, really fun. Like that movie really worked for me and really surprised me. So it kind of depends, but like Dune is the top one by far.
Hitman I enjoyed. I haven't seen Monkey Man yet. I really need to. I'm slacking.
It's
I
so
need
good.
to see that damn movie.
It's streaming now. I plan to watch it this week because I haven't seen
Where?
it either. I think it's on Peacock.
Okay. I need to watch them. That makes sense. I need to watch that movie. Aaron, what about you?
God, I have such bad taste. Everybody's picking like really good movies, and I'm just gonna pick like stuff I like.
Paw Patrol.
I wish. Yo, go watch that. Go support the channel. Go pay our bills.
Support the mothership. Keep us
keep us rolling, right? So probably Monkey Man. I really, really love the Fall Guy, and it makes me sad it did not do better. I am
It's
a
awesome.
sucker. I am a sucker for
I
like
loved
the
it.
aesthetics of a rom-com, and Ryan Gosling's so GD charming. God, and I want to cheat and just vacate the top spots I saw at TV Globe, but I have to go watch it with Jamie. Like we have to do our thing together. But
I've been waiting.
It's not
It's
there.
killing me. I want to
It
see
is
so
killing me
bad.
too. I refresh every morning on Google and like, is it out at home yet so we can plan this? No. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And man, let's go. Man, that's gonna make me sound stupid, but it's
This is a
true.
safe
Rebel
space.
Moon.
It's truth.
No. I really like. So it's this little anime movie called Haikyuu: The Dumpster Battle. It's
Okay.
like a boys volleyball team.
Oh,
They,
I've
like-
seen the trailer for this.
Yo, they shoot part of it in like weird first person, and it's rotoscoped. I am a sucker
Ooh.
for that. And like the
Ooh.
Young Woman in the Sea, I am a sucker for like sports movies, especially about your teammates because of my previous experiences. So anything that pulls at your heartstrings like that, I really loved Haikyuu. And it's done really well, which is like hilarious. Like it's very funny. You've got all this doom and gloom going on, and then you've got Crunchyroll be like, we're gonna make 5 of these things. We don't have enough theaters to put all this in. So that would probably be up there for me. But I haven't seen a ton. I don't know. And I just saw Inside Out yesterday. So I don't feel comfortable being like in the afterglow of the anxiety attack of it all, saying that it was in the top 3.
This is a good. I remember that trailer. That movie looked fun.
It
Young Woman in the Sea also
Man, woo.
fantastic. Not enough people talking about Young Woman in the
I
Sea.
liked
movie's
that
very good.
too.
It's
That
really good.
that made me cry. Inside Out 2 did
Aw.
not make me cry. The Young Woman in the Sea, I cried like 3 times. So.
It's actually a movie that I don't know why it released when it did. This feels like an award season movie. It should have
So
released
initially,
that.
they were just going to put it on streaming, and then it tested so well that they were like, "We're going to give it a limited theatrical release and then put it on streaming after the fact." So that
Interesting.
probably was the justification for when it was released when it did. So, but I'm definitely going to check it out at some point.
I also love turning off my brain for Roadhouse. We and Ariel
That's
laughed
fun.
so much. It's so preposterous. I cannot
I
believe
hated
they're making a
Roadhouse.
second one. It's so
hated it.
stupid. It's so dumb. I loved
Conor
it.
McGregor is absolutely hilarious in that movie, whether it's intentionally or not. I was cackling. Where the
It
is everybody?
funny.
I was, bro.
It's
Oh,
an
Roadhouse was
insult to the
hilarious.
Patrick Swayze masterpiece. It is a bad
Road-
movie. and
Roadhouse
It
giving
is a
Conor
bad
Mc-
movie. You're
Yo,
right.
that is the
Bad.
best entrance into a movie since Thor came to Wakanda. That was amazing. Oh my god! All right, y'all, we got to wrap it up. This was fun. I love doing this. I maybe hopefully we'll make more time to do these little conversations in future episodes. We got Comic-Con down the line. We got Deadpool and Wolverine right around the corner, but not a ton on the Disney Plus front. Not a ton of the we'll have a lot to talk about with those things. But I think it's fun to kind of talk about some other stuff when we have time for it. So this won't be every week. Thank you for hanging with us and doing it with us this week. This is definitely our breakout for the week. So if you're seeing this on YouTube and it's just a video and you're like, where's the rest of the show? We just broke this out so y'all could see us talk about not Marvel stuff and have fun with it. And we'll see how it does. If this performs really well, maybe we'll do this more often. But thank you so much, everybody, for hanging with us. Jamie, any last words for today's show?
Oh, thanks for joining us. Stop taking your phones out and stop talking at the movie theater. Follow me on Letterboxd at Jamie Girac. I did just log my 300th movie of the year, so I'm very active on that. So check it out.
Aaron Perrine.
It's at Sibling Corner on social media. I would like to take time for a slightly somber thing. Rest in peace to comic historian and to the late great Jerry West. The logo passed away from us today, and I'm like, oh man, no, we're losing everybody.
Yeah. Jen, any last words for today's show?
It's at Hey It's Jenna Lynn on social media. As always, go read some comics. There's a new Scarlet Witch #1 today, which I'm sure Jamie will be very excited about. It continues the ongoing series that has already been going for the past year or so. But yeah, so there's a lot of good comics to go read, but especially that one. I wrote a long form review of it that's on the site right now.
All right, y'all. GeekFi, I am also hyped for Gears of War E-Day. I cannot believe we're finally getting that game. That's our show, everybody. I want to thank everybody. Quite a few people at Disneyland said they watch and listen to FaZe Zero. That means the world. Thank you so much for saying hey and listening to us. Thank you to the girl who was working the door at the Star Wars Cantina, who let a group of us in when the reservations were full. You're a rock star, and Jake and Morgan and all of us from the movie podcast as well also had a great time, and we spent money and we posted content like we said we would. We promised. So thank you for that. Thank you to everybody who listens to the show. We will be back on. We have to figure out if and how and what we're going to do for a Monday bonus episode, but we will definitely be back for Wednesday with our regular MCU show. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Play our show for your mom, play it for your dog, subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.